Can weighted dips unlock the straddle planche, and do they really have a carryover to it? The short answer is indirectly. The long answer is keep watching this video and find out. I'll try to break down the exercise and give you a guide on how to use it best if your goal is to learn the planche. The first logical step is to figure out which muscles work in a planche and which ones work in dips. Planche engages pretty much the whole body, but the primary muscles are anterior shoulders, biceps, chest, forearms, triceps, abs, lower back, and even glutes help to stabilize the body and keep the straight line. As it turns out, the dips activate similar muscles, triceps, chest, and shoulders as well. If you lean forward more and put elbows to the sides, you can activate the chest better. With the regular dips, you focus more on the triceps. What about the shoulders? The function of anterior delts, or the front shoulders, is a shoulder flexion. In other words, raising your arms. Well, here's an issue. Can you see the difference between dips and, for example, push-ups? That's right, the movement pattern is different. When doing regular dips, your shoulders never really reach the planche position. The shoulders do work, but not in the right angle, which is why there are better exercises like overhead press if you want to build shoulder strength. The end point is when your arms are straight and more or less parallel to the body. Even if you try to lean like this, you will barely reach the planche position. You can try tuck planche push-ups, but that's a totally different exercise. The question is whether dips are good for the planche or not. So, does this mean they are bad? No, actually, not at all. See, the dips alone will not get you the planche, but will build the strength anyway. And we won't limit ourselves to just doing dips because we have common sense. There are, of course, a ton of other exercises in a planche workout, like straight arm raises, progressions, planche leans, and so on. However, it works both ways. Limiting yourself to just practice and progressions is not enough. You need both strength and special preparation. For strength, I'd recommend weighted dips as one of the exercises. The others can be overhead press, handstand push-ups, weighted push-ups, and bench press. But to target specific muscles, we can do tuck planche push-ups or slow and controlled bodyweight dips with protraction. Which brings me to my next point. If you focus on the scapula and perform dips like this, it may be a great tool to help you learn the protraction so that later you will keep it while doing planche push-ups, raises to a handstand, and so on. The key is to focus and do it slowly. You can also do a weighted version of this once you are strong enough. As a side note regarding regular dips, a very common misunderstanding is that you can't go too low because it's bad for your shoulders. You absolutely can. This move is not unnatural or inherently bad. The issue is that you need to be careful and slow. People who are unprepared and do dips like this may have problems. All you have to do is start slow and build up strength, and you'll be fine. And even then, stay careful. Should you train like this if you want the planche? I don't think it's necessary, just going slightly below the 90 degrees will be enough. But if you know better, then let me know in the comments. Now, why do weighted dips instead of regular bodyweight ones? Why can't I just do as many as I can? What we need in a planche is to exert a lot of force and access maximum strength quickly. The optimal range for strength gains is 5 to 8 reps, provided you're doing it to failure, of course. It's not like you just do 5 bodyweight reps and that's it. You have to pick a certain weight that you can do a maximum of 5 to 8 reps with. Here's the deal. When you lift in a 5 to 8 rep range with heavy weights, your body recruits more fast-twitch muscle fibers, which are responsible for powerful explosive movements. Your central nervous system adapts by improving how efficiently it sends signals to those fibers, increasing coordination and force output. In other words, it teaches your body how to produce maximum strength in a short amount of time. You can even train in a 1 to 5 rep range. The reason I chose 5 to 8 is because it's a perfect middle ground. On the other hand, 25 plus reps mainly activate your slow twitch fibers, boost blood flow and build endurance, but they don't challenge the CNS or fast twitch fibers enough to develop serious strength. Does this mean that we can't train in a high rep range? Actually, not necessarily. I know people who developed the foundation for the planche and later mastered it by first doing a lot of bodyweight dips. like 70 to 80 reps in a row. But this is not ideal, as I just explained. In fact, each athlete will tell you their own story of how they learned the planche, so what works for one person may not work for someone else. However, there is some objective truth that is applicable for the majority of people. And the final argument for the weighted dips, which is not necessarily related to planche, is don't you just want to get stronger? One of my main reasons for training is to get stronger, not to be massive. In fact, combining a decent physique with significant strength seems like a great option. Progressively overloading weighted dips is what will allow you to do that. Imagine being able to do weighted dips with 225 pounds. If you want to start training weighted dips but you're not sure how, here's a clear guide. After you've done your planche routine, go to the parallel bars and experiment with the weight. Choose the one that you can do 8 reps with. Your set should be close to failure with good form. Do 3 sets of 8 reps and increase the weight on the next workout while keeping the amount of reps the same. If you ate and recovered well, you should be able to do the same amount of sets and reps with the bigger weight. That's how adaptation works and how you get stronger. At this point, a good question is it really okay to do weighted dips at the end of my planche workout? Will I not be tired? Yes, but not as much as it would seem. See, as long as you didn't do crazy stuff, the first part of your planche workout is mostly for building mind-muscle connection, practice, and working on specific muscle groups. For example, straddle planche attempts, dog planche, planche leans, handstand negatives, and so on. The dips, on the other hand, is a compound exercise, which means multiple muscle groups get involved. As we discussed earlier, it's chest, triceps, and shoulders. So even if your shoulders are a bit tired, and so is your central nervous system, you should still be able to do dips, and it still will be very effective. I recommend staying within the 7 to 8 rep range and adding 2 pounds once you can do 3 sets of 8 perfectly. You'll be surprised to see how far you can go with this. Also, let me reiterate, weighted dips shouldn't be the last exercise you do, more like 4th or 5th, depending on how many you have. Do it after you've trained the planche directly. Finish the workout with some lower back or abs exercise. And that's it for today, guys. As you can see, it's not complicated and getting stronger is actually a lot of fun. One of the benefits is that you can easily learn skills like planche or the front lever. If you want to get the front lever, I offer a personalized training plan that will guarantee results if you stick to it. If you want that, you can DM me on Instagram, the link is below. Keep training hard and I'll see you in the next one.